Hello everybody. It's been a while since I've done a full tour of all my stuff, so I thought tonight I would do just that. Give a tour of everything I've got. So, first things first, this is a 110 gallon stock tank with a 150 watt LED floodlight, and there's some compact fluorescent lights up here above it. And this is mainly my big ear red mosaic guppy colony. That's what its original purpose is. But now I also have a breeding colony of bristlenose plecos. There's shrimp in here somewhere. And now it is also serving as my plant farm. Everything's looking pretty good. And these sponge filters I have going are the biggest sponges you can get. The triple decker, I have 3 sponges on DIY. I have a video on how to make these. And they serve as extra filtration because my pump I have going on over here is clogged. And we'll get it. And then my main filtration on here is that pump right there. There's a sponge pre-filter. And that pump right down there goes into that bottom of that bucket, 5-gallon bucket. That bucket is full of gravel and sand. Serves as my biological filtration. And I also have plants growing in the bucket. That's Hygrophila growing immersed. I've had it all the way up into there before, and it had purple flowers. It was really quite pretty. I've got a huge patch of Hygrophila deformis, or better known as water wisteria. But I have a couple different types of Hygrophila aquarium in here. That big one right there is a giant hygro. And these ones over here with the narrower leaves, I'm not sure. I bought all these come from one tube at Petco, the little tube of plants you can get. All it was marked as is Hygrophila aquarium. And I've grown and propagated it over the course of the last 10 months or so. And now it's full in all my tanks. Same thing goes with the wisteria. I bought it in one of them tubes. One little tube. And I think actually I only had like one stem that took off. And I've since propagated it. But in here, tons and tons of fish, especially since I got this new light and started growing these plants. It's like the amount of fries quadrupled in the last month. So this colony is getting ready to go crazy for all the plants in here. Yeah, I think that about covers this one. Next thing we'll do is we'll head on over to the shrimp room, which is getting ready to expand and may not just be for shrimp. I need to do some algae cleaning on here. But so what happens, speaking, there's baby shrimp in here. I saw some just last night. This is above eye level, this top tank. I have 520 longs right here. I'm thinking, well, we'll get into that later, but this is a fire red tank. I need to do some algae scrubbing in this tank. There are baby shrimp in here. Let's see if I can find any right now. Need to clean up this glass. Okay. Not seeing any right now. Oh, there's one. On the brick. Right there. Now focus. There it is. That's a wee little baby born in here. And now we'll come down to the next tank, which is also fire red. Oh, and I should mention, all these tanks are the biggest sponge filters I can find. I forget what, API or something maybe? No, that don't sound right. But they're the fine ones. And I deal with the PVC pipe and the uplift and all that. This is the tank, the fire red tank, that has had a baby explosion. And there's still a couple in here, a couple females that haven't dropped their babies yet. There's little guys everywhere in here. Everywhere you look, a little baby shrimp. Got some good. There's a little guy. There's a couple little guys. I'd say I started these tanks. I'm not real sure. I'd have to go back and look, but I'd say it was sometime in October. Maybe end of October when I started them. Maybe that's right. Oh, here's a newborn. If I can find it. Yeah, alright. Focus. It's not going to focus, but here's another one. Where you at? You don't want to focus. Well, there's still tons of little ones. And some of the females are still buried. The oldest babies are probably a couple weeks old, and that would be like these guys right here. A couple weeks old. And then here we have the yellow goldenback shrimp. Lots of moss. And before I go any further, all these tanks are powered by an AP40 air pump, and it's like an 18 valve manifold, I believe I got from Ken's Fish. I got all up there. That also powers my sponge filters. Over here I got some air lines that come down and around. And then there as well. So those are powered by that as well. Yellow goldenbacks. So we'll get close up to these guys. Great big ram's horn snail. See, where'd you go? In camera. Look at the yellow stripe going down his back, or her back, I should say. There's another one. These guys get huge. But however, for me, they don't breed out as fast as the other ones do. They never die. I mean, the fire reds, you know, some of the tank, one of my big tanks where I have probably 1,000 of them in my 75 gallon. And it's nothing to see a couple dead ones here and there. The endlers in that tank take care of any dead shrimp though, and the snails. If you see a ball of 20 snails, it's probably a dead shrimp and fire reds. But they reproduce so fast that any casualties they may have, they more than cover up for it. Seeing as all the fire reds in all my tanks came from 10 shrimp that I got in March. So just a different line of shrimp and super fast reproducing, but fragile it seems. Now, I haven't seen it. Speaking of that, getting on that subject, I haven't seen a dead one in here in months, so I think they have molting issues. The yellow ones are hardly ever, I mean, I've seen maybe, I probably have 1,000 of them in all my tanks of these yellow goldenbacks. And I've only ever seen maybe a handful dead. Hundreds or 1,000. And there's 2 lower tanks down here. About to go on the floor. This is another yellow goldenback tank. This colony is having a hard time getting going, I think. I know I've seen some babies in here. But like I said, these guys they're a lot harder to get a colony going, it seems like. They breed way slower for me. And my original colony is going great guns. Starting new colonies with these guys is kind of a pain. I didn't have a lot of problems when I first got them. my first batch I got off Lucas Brett's. Those breeded up pretty good. Looks like these guys they quit breeding as much in my original colony because I feel like they're just overpopulated. This tank needs a little bit of scraping. I feel like their numbers got so high, and I still see little ones in there, but not very often. So it's like kind of reached their limit, and that was that. I don't see them dying very often, but they quit reproducing. So then I want to start these out. Oh, and now that I say that, gee, man, make me a liar. There is a girl. Let's see where you at. There's a girl full of eggs. Just discovered. That is very cool. I've seen them in here with like a couple eggs. I think one of the females, when I put them over here, may have had like, she dropped all but a few of them. A few eggs. I've seen a few baby shrimp in here. So that one's fully buried. Hopefully she carries all of them. And this colony will get going good. And speaking of buried, I'm looking down at the bottom tank. And look what we have here. We have a buried snowball. I like these guys. Here's my DIY filter. For some reason that sponge was kind of stretched out and it wanted to float up on me, so I used a rubber band on there. I think for future references, the sponge, when I make these filters, the sponge is going to be I'm gonna put a coupler, then just put like a little PVC, two couplers together, connected with PVC in the middle, but the PVC will be real small, so the couplers go together. Then I'll drill the holes in the couplers, so then that'll fit very snugly on there. I'll have to stretch out the sponge to get it on there. One thing about these tanks is the moss. This is the Pilo moss. It's really hard to get. I actually got it for free. I had no idea what it was for the longest time. Well, I started all my stuff up in March. I bought lots. I spent like $500-600 with Lucas Brett's. I bought a whole bunch of peacock moss, like 5 portions of it, and he gave me a portion of this for free. And my peacock moss, it grows, but it doesn't do super good. This pile moss, I have it almost all my tanks, and it just goes crazy. It loves my water. How I fertilize it, I guess. Now, I'm going to cover a lot of stuff in this video. So, I'm bored sitting at home by myself. So I'll make a crazy long video. Alright. Oh! And I use my phone most of the time for a camera. And I got half terabyte micro SD card. Blows my mind these days. Half terabyte on something the size of my pinky nail. Something crazy. Storage for days and days. Alright, now, the future, I'm still debating. Excuse me while I climb up off the floor. I'm getting old and fat. It's hard to get up off the floor. These are stacked 5 high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's the put. 5. Now let's use the closet mess. Turn the light on. There's going to be 5 here, and 5 here, and then 5 here. I'm going to take all this shelving out. Whatnot, but if I'm perfectly honest, my true passion is the fish. I love my shrimp. I mean, this in March when I got these guys, it was my first foray into shrimp, and I'm learning. And they're doing good, obviously, but my true love is the fish and the live bears and endlers and guppies. But and it seems to me that I thought more people would be interested in shrimp, but most of my shrimp videos don't seem to get too much traction. All my popular videos are guppies, and that's what I love to do. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've really gotten into shrimp, but my number one passion is the fish. So what I thought about doing is doing maybe 3 75s here, here, and here, and then I might be able to do 5 20 longs for shrimp, 5 20 longs, but might not be all shrimp. And another thing I've been doing that I prove it can happen is endlers and shrimp doing very well together in the same tank. And if I can pull that off, I may try it in one of these other tanks. Of course, the moss has to get going full-fledged, so all the baby shrimp can hide in the... I don't want my baby shrimp getting ate by the endlers and guppies. But I know fire reds and endlers can coexist, and the shrimp numbers almost seem unaffected. In fact, they almost seem to do better. So if I can pull that off, then I'm going to try it in a few tanks. Try a, like I said, 75, 75, 75 with, and those will be my main breeding tanks for my endlers and guppies. And then do the 20 longs like I do over here, and line breed out specific traits, do my line breeding, and have different lines of shrimp. So then that would be really useful. Be a lot more bang from the buck if I can do shrimp and fish in the same tank. Obviously, like I said, before you do that, you have to let I figure I'd let the moss get completely covered like some of these tanks are over here, like that tank for example. So the baby shrimp have a place to hide, because it's what I've done in my 75 gallon with the rainbow tiger antlers and the fire reds. so maybe it'll work. I don't know. I'm worried about smaller scale than a 20 gallon, but we'll see. I'll try it out in here. Like I have 2 colonies. Alright. I have 3 colonies of fire reds, 3 colonies of these, and 2 colonies of the snowballs. So I got plenty to experiment with and make sure it's gonna work. In fact, I may start doing that. Well, I'm gonna let these colonies get established better before I do it. Yeah, I'll let these colonies get established. Maybe let this tank get going good. When these babies grow up and start breeding, maybe we'll give it a try. Try the line breeding out. That is a newborn, alright. Oh, it's so small it ain't gonna show up on here. That is a teeny tiny shrimp. I think it's good to show up on the camera. Let's see, it's right there. Oh, freak. Right there. Just focus. There he is. He's probably like a day old. Mama dropped him today. But this one was buried. And now it's not buried, so she may be the mama. Okay. Now I've talked about the shrimp room, the future plans of the shrimp room. Go over to where it all started. This right here. It's 420 highs, that's 75, and then I later put the 20 long on the bottom there. This is my breeding project, and these are the guys I want to line out. Well, different traits of them, like, let's see here. Here's my take on an improved rainbow tiger endler. Let's see where to go. I don't know. They're hard to keep up with. These guys, they're hybrids of guppies and endlers. But they act like endlers. They are so hard to keep track of. The females have some color on them, unlike endlers. Some of them do. I guess some of these females are plain, but this guy is pretty cool. And we got that. And we got ones that look like that. And we got some that look like, don't make me a liar. Like that guy right there. Very, very pretty fish, I think. There are different kinds in here. Use a 75 to just keep a mixed tank of strictly hybrids. And a 75. This is over in the closet with the shrimps. And then do a 75 gallon with the I have another mixed tank down here. These are the hybrids and coals mixed in down here. This is my mixed tank. It's just a 20 long. These are coals, healthy coals, just not displaying the correct traits. And some hybrids. Letting them all mix up genetically. Seeing what happens is pretty cool. You get some cool mixes. Alright. And then up here, this is my OG original gangster snowballs. And there's a lot of them in here. Snowballs everywhere. Lots and lots of snowballs. I mean, they're everywhere, all the way to the back. They like hanging on the plants and the moss the best, but there's big mamas and little new babies and everything in between. And here's another thing I have to watch out for. I'm looking at the yellow goldbacks, and from time to time, since these things are like this, we'll have climbers. And there is a climber. Dang snowball. In the yellow goldback tank. And when I catch them doing that, I net them out and they come in here. Hey, look at this one. This one's just starting to color up. The only color it's showing right now is a red streak. I'm trying to. That's a male. I thought at first it might be a female. It's just now starting to color up. That is something. It's a new one. And this is my yellow goldbacks. Full of moss. Nubius back there ain't doing real good. Yes, the Nubius is doing good. Still some Java fern left back there. My Java ferns don't do too good for me. But when shrimp end up in the wrong tank, I think what happens sometimes is when they're little bitty tiny babies. I don't know, I've never seen one actually climb. They might. Next tank. They might be so tiny I don't see them, and they end up growing up for a little bit. Then I notice it and I catch them. And like I said, they come in here. And look at these guys. These are my coal shrimp, and there's one that's like orange. That was pretty cool. An orange shrimp. I wonder if it's like a mix of a snowball and a fire red. I have some wild looking ones in here too. There's a small little fire red. You know, there's all kinds of stuff going on in here. And this over here is my original fire red colony. And I've been selling some out of here and start growing colonies, and so the adult numbers are kind of depleted. There's still more than enough. But all the babies in the moss. There's no shortage of youngsters in the moss. Tons and tons of them. I just had a baby explosion in here about a month ago. And it was, I had a guy in Texas. I sent some fire reds to him, and I tried to send him smaller ones because they usually do better with the shipping process and adjust the new water better. So I sent him a bunch. The one's about like this size, about most the size of them. They're probably about 3 weeks old, 2 or 3 weeks old when I sent them. There's still plenty. There's still some buried ones in here. The males mainly seem to climb up in the hygrophilia. Up here. Now look at this. This is one hygrophilia plant that's planted there. And these 20 highs I have, I think they're the Aqua Clear 30s on all 4 tanks. Yep. And the lighting is 2 4-foot Aqua Neat lights. That's how I like these tanks. In the shrimp room, they're Aqua Neats as well. And here I have the Aqua Clear 30s, I think they are. But this is one stem. The original stem got tall. The hang on back filter discharge pushed it down. So now it's come bent down, kind of all like this. So one stem. And all these side shoots that are growing up, so I think that's kind of cool. And there's a little Anubias in here that's getting pretty big. This Anubias is doing really good. That Anubias, let's see, it starts right in that area and curves towards me and up to the front of the tank, up to there. I think it's got a Y in there. Right there. So I could probably propagate that a little bit. And then my next tank, this is my rainbow tiger endlers. With probably 1,000 fire red shrimp. And the shrimp colony, I actually put in shrimp in here to probably like July, June or July. I put like 10 or 15 fire reds in here. And lo and behold, these shrimp in here seem to do better than the shrimp only tank. It must be has something to do with eating fish crap. I'm not real sure, but I think it comes down to eating fish crap and stuff. Who knows? And I have talked about, I have a breeding colony of bristle noses in there. Now, when I first got this tank going, I started getting an algae outbreak. So I stole one of my, I have to hit my vape here for a second. So I stole one of my starting members of my bristlenose colony and put him in here. My wife fell in love with him. Call him Gordon. And I kid you not, he is out on the glass today. He's always hiding, but he is from here to here. I seen him right here earlier today. He's that big. I thought they only got 5 or 6 inches. He's at least 5 inches. And they were juveniles when I got him. And I think February or March. So I got my bristlenoses before I got any of the other things. Because I already had that up and running. That's been up and running before the fish tanks. That was actually, if you go back to some of my old videos, go back to like 2-3 years ago, I had it listed as my inside goldfish pond. I had goldfish in there. And in the other room. It was a nice setup like that for a couple, 2 or 3 years. But once I got into the guppies again, going full out with them, I decided to make it a big guppy colony. And whenever I can, I use Eheim heaters. This is all Hygrophila, that aquarium boza that I didn't know. Pylomoss. It's getting to be ridiculously tall. I mean, it's like 5 or 6 inches tall right there. That moss is. We have all kinds of goodies going on. There's who knows how many shrimp. You see all of them right there in the moss, and they're all over in the plants. And that's not even counting the babies, because I very rarely see small shrimp. Like, there's a smallish one right there. Let's see, there's a smallish one. But I never see them smaller than that. When they're first born, they stay down in hiding, down in the deep recesses of the moss. Then when they get big, they come out here and do their thing. So I think I'm on to something. You gotta get a great big thick moss mat going, and you can raise shrimp and live bears in the same tank. And the shrimp benefit from the shrimp, or the shrimp benefit from the fish. And if an endler dies, which has happened a few times, there'll be 50 shrimp on it devouring it. If a shrimp dies, there'll be 20 shrimp and 10 endlers fighting over it. Dead body don't last too long in here. My Nubius, that one started doing real good. It was doing real good. But then it started getting, I think that's a green spot algae on there. And then it started sending out one big leaf like once a month. And then out of the blue, it started sending out tons of little leaves. I'm not sure why that is. Tons of leaves, but I've never kept it before until this time around, because I've had fish tanks for years, since I was a kid. I had a guppy colony for 7 years. They're just Petco guppies. But I kept the same lines going for 7 years. A 20 gallon, and I used to have a 75 gallon of Severums. That was my favorite tank for a long time. Was my Severum tank. Then I've had Another thing I want to get into, it's not going to have anything to do with selling fish or trying to make a profit or anything like that. It's one of the tanks I've had. I had it probably 12, 13 years ago. I had it for 2 or 3 years. It's a 20 high with one pair of convicts. Watching them raise their young, clutch after clutch after clutch after clutch, and giving them the people. I gave the fry to other people for feeders, is what I ended up doing. And some of them would get big enough, they'd be the juvenile size, and I'd give a couple of them away, and people would keep them as pets. But most of them, I just give them off to people as feeders. And I talked about my mixed tank, so I won't talk about that again. It's a wisteria garden. And I was looking in here last couple days. There seems to be a fry explosion. There's tons of fry in here. But I don't usually see a whole bunch of fry in here, but there is now. So that makes me happy. This tank is really, really male heavy. Because when I do my calls, it's mainly just the males. Because the females, they're already plain looking. I guess they could be they're just as much a fault for a bad genetics as the males, but harder to point out. So that means we got one more tank to look at, and it is the tank that gets neglected. And when I say neglected, they still get their water changes and get fed every day and get fertilized. This is the cherry grass guppy colony that I and the cat will not let me sit down in the chair. Move, cat. This is what this is looking like these days. Water's clear, that's just hazy algae on the glass. There's only about 1,000 cherry grass guppies in here, or red grass guppies, whatever you want to call them. And some of their deformity, or well, not deformities, but bad color throws. Like the way the grass guppies work, the red ones will always throw some blue ones, and the blue ones will always throw some red ones. My line's pretty good though. Oh, someone's walking in the door. Oh, someone's yelling. Alright, I'm making a video, so don't be yelling, making a problem. Look at this great big female. There's the women, my wife and my oldest daughter. Appears I just got home with groceries. So I'll have to cut this video short a little bit. And the dog barking. We're getting into craziness. There's my wife walking in the door. Groceries. So, hope you guys enjoyed this really long video, going over all my stuff and hearing me ramble on. Thank you for watching. Bye. Next tank.